Welcome into Jets Nation Radio. I'm Angus. We are joined by a new co-host, Ray. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's just nice to be here, and I'm happy to join the call today.
Excellent. We got to do a couple extra questions because we got to know
Yeah.
who you are. You can't just be a stranger here. So
Yeah.
whereabouts are you from?
I'm actually not a local fan. I'm from Ontario, Canada, in the KW region, and I'm just happy to be here. It's not often that you get to be able to talk to some fellow Jets informees, and I'm just happy to be here.
Oh, I don't know if you'd call us informees. People tweet at us, and I
I
guess we're
might
famous.
I might be being a little generous here.
I mean,
You're
we don't
you're, you're
mind the
just buttering us
generosity.
up a little bit.
Yeah.
Totally.
Listen, our whole 30 listeners, we're feeling great about it. What do you do? What are you currently up to with your regular life? Like, you can't just watch the Jets all the
Yeah.
time.
I want to, but yeah, I'm just in school right now, and I'm just kind of going through that and just trying to enjoy every single Jets content that I can.
Right on.
Yeah.
Love to hear it. Sam, how are you doing? Because you're here with
Oh,
us
not
too.
too bad. Getting ready to scream at my TV for a few. Actually, Vikings game straight into a Jets game, so I feel bad for my neighbors today. It's going to be a long one.
I really feel for your heart. I think that thing's gonna give out tonight.
Yeah, it might need to go for a run before just to get some energy down.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, especially with your Vikings there too, man. Are they love
They're
taking it?
they like to make them exciting, that's for sure.
As long as they don't get upset like the Jags last night. What a game that was.
That was nuts. And the game that's going on right now too is pretty wild. It was 17-0, then it was 17 all. And going into halftime, it's 2017.
Who's playing in that one currently?
Bills Dolphins.
Bills
Bills are
and
up
Dolphins.
17-0, and Dolphins came roaring back. Couple turnovers.
Well, I hope that Alex gets to enjoy his day tomorrow at 7:30 CKDM. Tune into the bargain bin.
Always good stuff there.
Ray, tomorrow at noon, because I know you're in Ontario. Make sure you tune into the bargain bin on 7:30 CKDM.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth it. You're going to get a good chuckle, and you're going to have to buy some tires from a Ukrainian.
And then the tire guy's electric.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the Jets, because oh boy, this team is pretty good. Win tonight, the Jets will be on top of the Western Conference. Yes. Not just
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
That feels nice. That has a great ring to it. The Western Conference leading Jets by the end of the day will have a very nice ring to it.
Yeah, I watched the Oilers and the Golden Knights last night, and man, I think the Jets could take the Golden Knights to the limit if it came down to the third round. Are the Jets prepared for that?
Yeah,
I
I'd say
think
the
so.
Jets are pretty prepared for that as well.
I mean, I think it's going to be a bit different than it was a few years ago. The issue that the Jets had when they played the Golden Knights in, 2018, when they went to the conference finals, was they went to 7 games with Nashville right before. And throughout that 7 games, they just beat the shit out of each other every single night. So, and then Vegas cruised through, I think it was like San Jose and Calgary or something. Like they had I think 5 games for both of them. So this year, I think it'll really depend with those on what happens in those first 2 rounds. Like, how healthy are you coming in?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty important. And also looking at like the standings, at what teams that like the importance of position is, and where the teams you could play in that first round is very important. Where in the first round, if Edmonton makes it to the playoffs, you could be playing Edmonton in that first round where they've already shown some struggles. So finding the ways to win now rather than to struggle through these teams early on, I feel like is very important. And the difference in this season where we're winning games now and we're finding the ways to win when we're not playing good as well.
Yeah, well, so if we ended up with Edmonton, let's just say playoffs started today and the Jets, or let's say the playoffs start tomorrow, the Jets are on top of the Western Conference. They'd be taking on the Oilers. The Oilers are kind of a meh team, but if you have to play the Minnesota Wild, I don't know.
Yeah, the Wild have played the Jets really tough this year too. And I mean, like, Colorado is right behind Edmonton there. They have 4 games in hand and they're 6 points back, but they have all of those games in hand. So Colorado could end up being one of those wild card teams, and I don't think anyone will want to play them with all that talent they've got once they're healthy.
Yeah, Colorado coming back healthy is going to be a very scary team. And I mean, everyone said the same thing about the Jets. So maybe you can throw the big battle in between Makar and McKinnon versus Connor and Connor.
Yeah, well, don't leave out Josh Norrisy there.
No, we really
I mean, if you're going to throw in Cale Makar, Morrissey does have more points this year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know. You kind of want to you want to be on the top, because I think the Jets could beat anyone in the wild card position, including the Avalanche at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say that the Jets are very much a team where I feel like they're the team that the other teams have to look out for. And it's not really in a situation where the Jets need to worry about who they play, more being able to play up to the standard that they've shown against any opponent that they may come up against.
And I think ultimately it's also going to just come down to how Connor Hellebuck plays, because he's the make or break player for the Jets. Like, other guys can have an off game, but we saw it against Detroit. Even if everyone plays well and Hellebuck has an off night, the Jets are going to lose.
Well, almost consistently, month over month, Connor Hellebuck has one bad game where it's like he just allows 6 goals.
He's getting it out of his system.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather just one game where it's like, oh, yeah, that was 6 crappy goals instead of 6 games where it's 1 crappy goal.
And then he has a hell of a game bouncing back from it. Like, that Buffalo game was huge. Spectacular.
Yeah, you can't disagree with what we got to see out of Connor Hellebuck that game. And it was kind of funny what Rick Bowness talked about after that one is some games you deserve to win and you can't get the win to save your life. And there's other games where it's like you should have lost that one handily and somehow you walk out with the W.
It's why you play the games.
It's why you play the games. Yeah. And that's why I think the NHL is one of the best leagues to watch on a regular basis, because it's no guarantee win any night. Where NBA, if you're the top team, you're probably winning every night.
Yeah, the NBA is the worst for that. Like, at least the NFL has a little more parity there, but the NBA, I mean, you go into the season basically able to predict who's going to be in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
What fun is that?
No, it's a no fun league where it's every year there's that one underdog team. You're like, who the hell are these guys showing up to the Stanley Cup final, minus last year because it was top dogs.
That's true. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, you look back before that, and you had Montreal the year before that, Dallas the year before that, like, or whatever order those two teams went in. So there is always something interesting. St. Louis, yeah. They were hot to end the season, so that wasn't as much of a surprise. But going all the way back to 2012 when the 8th place Kings won the cup, you never know.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't count a team out until they're out.
Need to get hot at the right time.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
ultimately what it comes down to.
How many times have we watched the Toronto Maple Leafs fumble it in the last couple games?
Always fun to watch.
Oh, love watching those Leafs. Which Jets are untradeable right now?
All of them. Why are we moving guys out?
Well, okay. Well, we're getting to trade deadline. Kevin Cheveldayoff comes out with this beauty of a quote. But one thing about this game is when you have an opportunity, you should try and take it. So, I mean, there was lots of good quotes from his 30-minute interview press conference earlier this week, but it seemed like he's, without saying it, I'm going to make a trade because you have to swing for the fences when your window's open. Because right now the Jets have this year and next year, and then no guarantees. We have no idea what the team's going to look like.
There's a lot of UFAs after that. I mean, I think obviously like Hellebuck, top 6, all untouchable. Mm-hmm. Morrissey, DeMello. You got to think Sandberg.
It's funny. A lot of folks are not sold on DeMello. And it's just so
those strange. People are idiots.
Yeah.
Like, Bones even said it this week. He said DeMello's the perfect partner for Morrissey, or a week and a half ago, whatever that whenever that was. But he said DeMello's the perfect partner for Morrissey, and I think he's 1 assist shy of tying how many assists he had last year, DeMello, and he's already got 2 goals this year, which has got to be a career high for him.
I think most of the defenders are already at that point where they're already surpassing some of their better numbers, minus Nate Schmidt.
Yikes.
Ray, anyone that you see
I would also have to include Dylan and Lowry into that conversation
Yeah.
because I feel like they bring that kind of physical, kind of passionate edge to their game. But like as you said, you don't really want to trade anyone out unless you're really making an upgrade to the squad because you don't really want to mess with what you have going right now, too.
And you also don't want to screw with the depth, I don't think. The position that the Jets are in now, I don't think any player that's been in the lineup this year consistently is moving anywhere. You might see like a Harkins or I'm trying to remember who hasn't been picked off of waivers, like a Toninato maybe, but I think for the most part it'll be like prospects and draft picks that are going out for guys coming in. I don't think anyone that's even like cracked the top of our lineup is going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think you can really trade away any of those guys because those are the guys that are bonus's eyes are the difference makers to his team. So you can't really trade away someone that's a difference maker for your team on a hope that it makes your team better because when you're trading away someone that has this connection to the room, I don't think you can really recover from that.
Yeah, that's why I don't think Nate Schmidt's going anywhere, even though his numbers are bad. like I think he's just so loved in that room and he brings the guys together for sure.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's an interesting way to look at it because I think you guys are the first two people I said who were just like, no, let's keep this band going because I mean it's not a bad band to watch.
I mean, we're 1 point shy of being first in the Western Conference. Of course, you got to
Yeah.
keep it going. And we've had a ton of injuries. Nikolai Ehlers is looking absolutely electric. Doesn't look like he missed 40 games. So I think, like, yeah, keep it going. Add another guy that can play in the top six through trade if you can, and maybe a like top four D man. But
So
I,
would you
yeah,
be trading out like one of your younger defenders, one of the
I
three of Sandberg, Stanley, or Hainala plus a first rounder this year?
I have a bad feeling that Villy's gone as a part of a trade because someone's going to want him. Maybe you can fleece someone like Edmonton to take Logan Stanley. Um, I 1D, I wouldn't mind them moving, and I know it's not going to happen. Is Neil Pionk? I think he's been really shaky this year. And I'd rather see young guys get that opportunity, especially if you're going to be trading for a defenseman.
But do you want to
Um,
lose that playoff experience? Not much that Neil Pionk has, but he does have that playoff experience where
yeah,
Villy or well, Villy doesn't.
yeah, I don't think Villy's going to be the guy that comes in for him. I think that would be like a one in, one out type of thing.
Okay.
Like you're moving Pionk and a draft pick for a guy that's going to come into that role that he's been playing, but be better.
I was gonna snap at you if you said Provorov. Well, that was
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
I can't believe anyone would suggest that for the Jets. It's like it's a fun idea, but when you look at the money, it's like, guys, stop. It's a bad
the issue
plan.
there is I think Chevy apparently likes him. I heard Chevy offered Ehlers for Provorov straight up years ago.
Yeah, but he also
Thank
offered
God.
Kyle Connor for who was it?
I think
It
they
was a
also
dumb.
offered Patrick Laine for Provorov 1-for-1
Oh
as
yeah.
well. So yeah,
He'll do anything to get Ivan Provorov apparently.
Could
the
you
one issue I
imagine?
have with that though too is that like when you have someone with Provorov and you're trading away Neil Pionk, how many right-handed defenders are you going to have on your team? You're going to rely solely on Dylan DeMello for the duty on the right shot side.
Yeah, that's true. Can't do that. The Jets just hate right-handed players. They have like Appleton, Wheeler, Shifley in the
Also, happy
forward.
birthday, Mason Appleton.
I didn't know it was his birthday. Was he 26?
Probably. I think he's the same age as me.
So 27?
Probably 27. I can't keep up with how old I am at this point. Just age. Just
Yeah,
be
he's 27.
all right. Happy birthday, Mason Appleton.
That could be potentially a guy I could see going out actually. Because I mean, he's been injured for so long. He's got a bit of term for a team that would be taking him on. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. It's so hard to know with Chevy because he might drop a blockbuster on us at some point, or he might just do some like depth moves.
Yeah. Well, like he's always a guy that swung right out, or he's always been out of left field on when he makes those trades. Who expected the Kevin Hayes or the Paul Stastny trades? Like maybe Kevin Hayes you expected a little bit more, but Paul Stastny was like, oh, sweet, that guy out of St. Louis. Like he's been around the league. He's done all right for himself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I think.
was sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I think Chevy is the type of GM that's gonna be patient enough where he's gonna get you a player that you don't really like fully expect is available or you think that fits, but it's normally a move at the end of the day that really improves the team overall.
Yeah, he's not a guy that's going to get taken advantage of in a trade. He's going to make whatever the best trade is for the Jets. Like he's which is dumb because obviously every GM is going to do that. But you see guys mess up. Chevy's not really, and we've talked about that before. Chevy's not really that guy that's going to go for the big splashy trade just to get the headlines. He's going to make sure whatever trade he does, he's getting the most out of that guy. Other than Kevin Hayes, that was a terrible trade.
But again, like on paper, that one seemed like it should have been
Yeah.
the difference maker. And I mean, ultimately it was because Kevin Hayes pulled the puck out of the net in game 5. But whatever. We forgive
But
him.
also NHL All-Star Kevin Hayes.
That too.
He's heading to Florida. That's how bad Philly is.
Stupid Philly. Oh, honestly, I don't even want to wish it upon Bedard, but like Bedard would save the Philadelphia Flyers, but I don't know if Tortorella needs to be there with young Bedard.
Oh, first time Bedard goes for a lacrosse move, he's getting sent to the A. He's going to Lee Valley.
Poor guy. Okay, so you guys, yeah, that's interesting. I like the fact you guys don't want to trade it, like want to keep this group together. Is there a position where the Jets can improve though?
Backup goalie.
Backup goalie?
No. Big Save Dave actually had a great game against Pittsburgh. I think the biggest thing would be a guy that's going to be on that third line, but that can easily slot into the top 6 because you just never know how injuries are going to go, and you can't have Carson Coleman or I don't know, like Jansen Harkins coming into your top 6 when it comes to the playoffs.
Which, why is Carson Coleman still here? What is he? Have you guys seen something? Because I feel like I've missed the whole.
Yeah, I think the main thing is back in college days, I'm pretty sure that he was teammates with not only Sandberg, Pionk, and
Toninato.
Toninato. Yeah, so I think that they already have this connection from when they played in college. So I think that they really like his game on like a depth level and kind of grinding it out and forechecking kind of way.
The issue I have with that is I think Toninato is a better player, and he's not in the lineup.
Yeah, I think the only reason why Coolman's is over Toninato is I'm pretty sure Coolman's is also right shot too. So I think they're kind of giving priority to kind of the way you shoot as well.
Yeah, which to a degree you probably should. Like you want a guy who knows how to play the wing properly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that because I've been just trying to figure it out, and it makes sense. You want to have another Minnesota guy, and I mean, my love for Matt Hendricks was he was just another Minnesota guy, and those guys just seem to fit in this room so well.
Well, there's so many of them.
Yeah, no, there really are, and I mean, if the whole squad's made up of Minnesotans, well, so be it.
Minnesota, Michigan, and then you just throw Mason Appleton in there from Wisconsin in the middle.
Yeah.
Just a whole NFC North battle.
And you just got good old Mark Scheifele trying his best out there, the odd Canadian out. No, it's a good group of guys, and I get it now. So, Ray, this is why you are welcome on this podcast. You use that big, beautiful brain of yours. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people are pushing for Taves on the trade, and he goes injured last night, going on long-term injury. So
I didn't see that.
I'd seen that one of those Instagram feeds put it out last night.
Hey, that's a Vegas or Toronto move. Pick up a guy on LTIR if he's going to be back just in time for the playoffs, and it's just a free player.
Basically.
Wait, so we might not see Jonathan Taves in a Chicago jersey again?
No.
That's wild.
But maybe we should pull up the actual injury here. Johnny Taves. Oh, also, make sure you guys subscribe to this podcast. Anyone that is tuned in right now, we appreciate it. I'm looking to get 50 subscribers on YouTube. If you listen to us there, subscribe there. I'd like to do that by the end of the month, and I'll give you a high five if you see me in person. So, you get that. Ray, if I travel to Ontario, I'll give you a high five too if you subscribe. So, it helps us. And we really like the likes as well. So subscribe, do all that good stuff, and tell your friends. And tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm going to be talking to John Scott. So tune in for that one when we have that all done up. Former All-Star John Scott played with 2 original 6 teams. I don't know if that tickles your fancy or not, but
All-Star game MVP John Scott.
Let's do that as well. So
I don't think Taves is injured.
I don't. Okay,
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't think he is injured.
You know what? I was probably.
There's nothing.
Listen, I was indulging in some things last night, and I was scrolling through the internet at
Angus is seeing shit.
I'm not seeing things. I just think I looked at a false account that likes to lie, and I believed it like an idiot. So that's my fault.
What are you new here? Come
apparently, on. Yeah. Rick Bowness was not in the top 4 for Jack Adams Award voting. Why is that?
Because he coaches Winnipeg?
No, yep. There it is.
Coastal bias. I mean, when you look at that top 4 for Jack Adams, it was literally the 4 coaches leading their division at that time.
And so Jack Montgomery, the Boston coach, I can understand. That's
100%. He should be in the top spot without a doubt.
He wins every day of the week. But then it's like it should be Lindy Ruff and Rick Bowness squaring it off for second place.
I mean, can you imagine if a coach went into Toronto or New York or Boston and took a team that didn't make the playoffs the year before, and they were now leading their division, soon to be leading their conference, and with minimal changes, like they barely made any moves.
Yeah, what Sam Gagner and Saku Manalainen were the big sexy upgrades this year.
Honestly, yeah.
You turn things around without a Nikolai Ehlers for your first half of the season.
Like it's absolutely absurd. I think short of winning the President's Trophy, which isn't going to happen, Bowness isn't going to get the Jack Adams, but he should be a finalist.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with Josh Morrissey, where how long did it take for everyone to beat on the drum to be like, hey, notice Josh Morrissey, please and thank you. And he's still not getting the respect he deserves.
Yeah, definitely. And I just like there's so many teams that are just like with so many different systems with the new coaches. And I just think that like people are kind of not seeing like every single like story that's happening. And I feel like because it's Winnipeg, I feel like the story kind of gets where only people from Winnipeg or like that follow the team fully understand the kind of situation that Bowness was able to like bring to this team, where Boston was already a playoff team last year and had success, where Winnipeg everyone kind of written them out already. So it's kind of, I feel like Bowness has had the biggest impact on the team of any coach.
Oh, I think you're absolutely correct there, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing with Boston that surprised so many people is, Marshy's getting old, Pasternak, whatever, like all these things are happening to the Boston Bruins. They're not going to be able to compete, and they were down guys to start the season. And
they have Linus Ullmark in net. Who thought that guy was going to be the Vezina front runner?
Listen, it's any other season. Hellebuck wins you that Vezina, but
I still think he'll be in the conversation for sure.
He's gonna get second place. That's just simply it. Any other year he wins, but not this year. And I can't even be mad about it because Boston is so good.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that. I'm sure my dad's listening to this and he's like, what the hell is that kid saying? Because
well, it's just true. I mean, you can't get around it. Some things are objective. That's not. Yeah. Boston's the best team in the NHL.
Yeah, simply put. Thoughts on the last 3 games for the Jets? The weirdest 3 games I think we've seen out of this team. because we had the very complete game Friday night against the Pittsburgh Penguins where it was like, we win. And then you have that weird one in Buffalo where it's like Connor Hellebuck's like, we're winning. I don't care what you guys do. We're winning the game. And then you have that Detroit game where I think we talked about it earlier, where it's just like Connor Hellebuck has one stinker every month, and the rest of the team was like, well, we'll try our best. And just everything went in past Connor Hellebuck that unfortunately shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think like going to Detroit first, that was just an anomaly game from Hellebuck. Like the team itself played so well in the second two periods. They dominated the Red Wings.
Yeah.
But you just can't start the game down 3-0. Like that's just not gonna happen. And then Buffalo, obviously, you kind of flip the script there. The Jets could have been better, but Hellebuck just lit it up. And then Pittsburgh's luckily everyone kind of figured out what they were doing. Big Save Dave had a great recovery game from his last outing where we were talking about, I don't know, Arvid Holm coming up after that one. And yeah, it's definitely nice to see when the Jets start to tie it together a bit. And I think that also speaks to how great Bowness is as a coach, is he's going to get good games out of guys after they put up not their best effort.
Yeah, I think that's what Bones has really brought in, is like where you have a bad game or you have a bad shift, but you don't focus on that or you don't address it right away. You more put it off to the side and address it later, where people can have a bad game. And then you saw it with Hellebuck where he had a bad game in Detroit, and then the next game he wins us the game. So I think that the way Bonus has kind of brought in the style of just kind of, we'll focus on it later and we'll address it, but kind of bring your A game while you can. I think Bonus has really changed the whole view of how people kind of view their game now.
I wonder if the plan was always Hellebuck in Buffalo, Riddick in Pittsburgh, or if after Hellebuck kind of put up a stinker the game before Buffalo, he and Bonus were like, okay, let's get you back on the horse right away.
I think that was, they always were going to put Hellebuck in Buffalo. Buffalo has the most goals this year. They shoot the most, and they have the most dangerous chances. I mean, you looked at what Tage Thompson was doing the other night. Like, oh my goodness. That was a weird, like, I can't believe that guy was, he was a second round pickup, was he not?
He was a St. Louis draft pick, and he
Yeah,
went
he's part of
over to
the
Buffalo in the O'Reilly trade.
Right. And yeah, it's been a good, sorry. That's been a good one.
He was a first rounder in 2016.
Oh, that was a first round. I thought he was a second rounder, but yeah, no, he's been pretty good, and it's fun to watch that guy. I'm a little disappointed we don't get to see more Buffalo games, and also very sad. Is Eric Comrie hurt right now, or was he just not playing in that game?
They kind of have no, he was the backup in that game.
Okay.
They have a 3 goalie rotation going right now. That guy with like 15 Ks in his name, Comrie and Anderson.
Good old Anderson.
Yeah, I think Comrie just came back from injury recently as well.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It felt like he was just kind of out there, and I was like, I just want to see some Eric Comrie, but
you could see his tiny little head with the big goalie equipment on the bench.
That guy is the most misshapen goalie I've ever seen. Like, all goalies are misshapen, but he's the most.
Yeah.
Nikolai Ehlers, Kyle Connor, who has the most points between them at the end of this, or like if we started counting from when Ehlers gets back, who has the most points between those two?
That's going to be a tight one because they're going to be getting points on each other's goals.
Yeah.
If they're playing together, it should come down to the wire. But I mean, the way Ehlers is playing right now, if he can keep that up, it's absolutely going to be him, like point per game wise. But we'll see if he can. Like that's a tough pace to keep.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Connor on this one, to just kind of go with the other view, where I think with Connor, I think the importance that he brings to the power play and the amount of goals he scores. I think that not every Kyle Connor goal might not go through Ehlers because you have Morrissey and have Dubois, but I feel like Kyle Connor has like the most amount of impact on the amount of points that the power play or the line one gets.
Yeah, that's very true as well. The power play is a big one too. Well, it'll be interesting to see if they change up the way they're doing anything now that Ehlers is back. But it seems like he's on that opposite side from Connor, so it might be a few too many passes to get it over to Connor before he scores.
Yeah, I like your point there. It's like not every Kyle Connor goal is going to be affected by Nikolai Ehlers, but I think more Nikolai Ehlers goals are going to be attributed to Kyle Connor. So yeah, dang, I was hoping for a spicy debate here, and you guys are just making this too easy.
We're being civil for
We
now.
We are. Also, Mark Scheifele has the same number of goals as Leon Draisaitl right now.
Yeah, I keep seeing like the Cy Young comparisons where it's like the Cy Young kind of thing where it's like the amount of just like goals and kind of impact that he's had on the team's like scoring and being a part of that, just kind of like how kind of like his game's kind of adapted, which is really nice to see.
Mark Scheifele and his
Yeah.
game. Yeah. Well, just the fact that he went from one of the like a very good playmaker, which he still is, but the fact he's scoring goals and like the greasy one that he scored the other night is like good for Mark Scheifele getting a greasy goal. I hope we see more of that from him.
And I feel bad for Scheifele on everyone being like, oh, he's doesn't have any assists. It's because neither of his line mates shoot the goddamn puck. So he'll set guys up and they just won't shoot. Like they'll try to make the extra move, the extra pass, and just put it into someone's feet.
Yeah, I would say that Blake Wheeler and Perfetti are a lot more of like the playmaker type. So I think it's kind of more on Mark Scheifele's ability to kind of adapt his game to whatever line mates he has is kind of really showing the value that Mark Scheifele provides for the team.
In 2 years, assuming he stays with the Jets, how much money does he make?
He's gonna sign long term this summer, and they're gonna give him the C.
You
I'm
think he's
sticking
still the
to
guy
that.
that gets the C?
It could be Morrissey. I think if Shifley signs long term, they might. The way he's stepped up this year, I think, has been something special. But it could be Morrissey.
I'm gonna
He's
throw a
still
name
around for
at you
5 more
for that
years.
captaincy, and he's young.
Sorry,
I'm gonna throw another name at you for the captaincy, Cole Perfetti.
Lowry, Perfetti.
No.
Yes. No. Listen here, because like you watched how he played the other
No.
night when he was sick, and just like I don't know, just the way that he's able to be coached, that might be a thing for him. Might be a reason, but like Lowry makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like you can't say no to that guy. You can't say no to Nikolai Ehlers, who loves the city of Winnipeg. Like there's just so many reasons to give so many guys the C, and it's unfortunate.
That's true. That is true. I mean, and that's one of the great things that Bones has brought. It's not just those couple guys who are the leaders or whatever. He wants everyone to pitch in and be a part of that leadership group. And for the most part, like you even see videos, those runway, I think this year's are called. You see a lot of Wheeler being a leader still. So even though he got that C taken away, like you still see a lot of him as far as the background stuff goes. And you can tell he's kind of helping guys like Perfetti out who are a bit younger, trying to like navigate their first full real season in the league. So
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. You got to figure someone's got the C by next season.
You know what? I think I'd almost rather this team without a captain while Bonus is coaching this team. I think like just the way that this room has gelled with Bonus at the helm. I know it's appropriate culturally to have a C on your team, but the Jets are doing fine without anyone being the guy when you have the whole team being or everyone's the guy.
Yeah, they're not going to go 10 years without having a captain though, and we all know that's how long Bones is going to be around. And three or four cups in that 10-year span, like who lifts the cup first? You got to have a captain.
I think it's Larry that lifts the cup first. He's done a lot of the ceremonies this year.
Or Roberto Luongo it and put the C on Hellebuck's helmet. Who says no?
I don't know. Do you need the guy with the twitchy eyes leading the team?
Yeah.
Can dart around, look at everyone real quick if he needs to cuss them out. No, we don't have Mike Smith here to cuss people out. Well, the Jets, they've got a pretty interesting week this week. We've got Arizona, Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa in the next 7 days. How are we feeling about Arizona? Are we gonna pull off a W?
I think it's going to be definitely a close game, but I feel like with the skill the Jets have, I think the Jets should, if they play their game, should come out on top. But as it's been said, like you got to give it every single game, and you can't have a game off in the NHL, so it's definitely going to be a close game.
It's Carl
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say there. So Arizona's coming off a back-to-back, eh?
Yeah, Carl Velmelka, who loves the Jets and loves.
I think it's going to come down to if he stands on his head. I think the Jets are going to win either way, but it's either going to be a 2-1 win or it's going to be a 6-1 win. Yeah, I think if he stands on his head, he'll keep it close, but I don't think the Jets are losing this one.
Morgan Barron is also back in the lineup tonight, which means Sam Gagner comes out along with Villy and Kyle. Wait. They should definitely have Harkins on that line because he was.
Harkins is with the Moose.
No,
he got called up.
Yeah, he's emergency called up yesterday.
Right. Because everyone's getting sick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that illness is not fun, I've heard. So I can't believe that Cole Perfetti played through his illness there in Buffalo and in Pittsburgh and looked like an absolute.
Well, he looked terrible in Buffalo, but he looked fantastic in Pittsburgh. Yeah. It was a hell of a comeback game for a guy who probably wasn't even 100% healthy yet.
No. And I think what kind of wowed me, like, because I texted you, Sam, the other night about we saw the Stanley Wheeler Lowry line, the thick boy line. Like, and that's kind of why I think it'd be cool for the Jets to find a top 6 right winger. I know it's impossible to find those for
so that Wheeler moves down.
But yeah, could you imagine having a thick boy line like that?
I mean, can you imagine having a goal scorer on Scheifele's wing? Because the way he's setting guys up, like he's still going to be scoring at the same clip. But if you put a guy who can shoot the puck on his side, he's going to get him the puck, and that guy's going to put it in the back of the net.
So now we have to find a magic unicorn of a right shot top 6 who likes to shoot.
Patrick Laine.
Brock Besser.
It's a damn shame we traded one away.
Yeah, who cares about that Pierre-Luc Dubois guy, man? That guy's just trash.
So good. Point of game. Just a beast.
Just a beast and just a hooligan out there. My favorite.
He's a shit disturber.
He is. I love it. Actually, okay, I got a personal question, not personal, but like a personal hockey question. Earlier this week, Mark Scheifele tried to dump the puck into the Buffalo zone, and the linesman got in the way of the puck. Very frustrating. I said, let's remove all but one official from the ice, have the guy from above watching the game, and you have a second and third guy. Nope. Okay.
No, absolutely not. You can't. I mean, it's not the official's job to get out of the way of that puck. It is absolutely Scheifele's job not to hit him with it.
But in every other sport, the referee does not interfere with the game. You look at soccer, football, basketball.
Dude, no, look at football. Not to be a homer here, but the Vikings, when they played the Commanders, Cameron Bynum, the Viking safety, had a pick in his hands until the ref ran into him, knocked him over, and I think it was Curtis, maybe whoever it was, the receiver for the Commanders, caught the ball and walked into the end zone. Mm-hmm. So it went from a pick to a touchdown for the other team.
Yeah, that ref definitely had money on that game. I know exactly which play you're talking about.
Yeah, he needed to hit the spread.
He really did. No, but like, how frustrating is that? Why not remove the referees, like the human side of it?
Yeah, then
it's such a fast game. I think you need someone down there.
But if you have refs on a bench, a small bench where they can hop on and off the ice, where they can deal with issues after the whistle, you can have somebody make these calls, and you have someone on the ice with a whistle that can make.
I think if you have someone from like up top calling the game, everything's going to be called too much. Yeah. If that makes sense. Then it becomes a more of a decision, even where you draw that line on what's a slash, what's a hook, what's a hold. I think the guys need to be on the ice. The officials need to be able to feel that pace of play and feel how the game's going. And you just can't do that from up in the press box.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. I still stand by what
Yeah.
I think, but
Yeah, I
That's
think by
okay. You can be
removing
wrong and stand by it.
yeah. I think removing these refs, like, sure, they might get in the way a couple times, but like I feel like it's ultimately like the refs kind of like decision on like adjusting to the pace of play. Because if you have someone above that is just viewing the game, there's gonna be a lot like all the people that are behind the play that like are having like a physical battle might get like called with a penalty when a ref would realistically not have seen it. So there's like every single like player is gonna have to be self-conscious about every single thing they do on the ice, where the way it is, there can be a lot more like lenience on that.
And I do like the idea of like feeling that pace of play and kind of having an idea of how the game's going right down there on the ice.
where you can hear guys kind of yapping at each other, so you know that you can let them blow off steam and things. No, it's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah. All right, let's finish up the rest of the week and then we'll kill off this podcast. We got Montreal on Tuesday. Should be a relatively easy walk through the park. Should be. But I think it's going to be like a Detroit game where it could also be mayhem and we get dummied.
Yeah, definitely. Like Montreal is a team where they like their adversity on their team, it's just they'll have games where they completely just don't show up, and then they'll have a game where they completely show up, and you don't know what team you're going to go up against on a given night. So they you could rock through that game in a 6-0 win, or you could get clapped 6-0. So
And then
I think the only game this week the Jets are going to have a real issue with is Toronto.
Yeah. And I mean, like Toronto, like they gave everything they could to defeat the Bruins last night and it just wasn't enough. So that's a good testing game for the Jets. We know where this team is at, but we want to make sure that they're capable of taking on the big challenges.
Yeah, and this stretch of kind of mediocre teams in a road trip I think is going to be a really good test for the Jets and trying to figure out, are they that different team than they have been in the past? Like, you still need to show up. These are still NHL players. You still need to show up for these games, and how the Jets kind of handle this situation is going to be interesting to see, especially with all of the games being on the road.
Yeah, well, and then we've got basically this 2 weeks of madness and then 10 days off, 11 days off, minus the All-Star game.
Unless your name's Connor Hellebuck or Josh Morrissey.
Yeah, which I think voting's too late on that anyways, but I hope that you voted.
Twitter voting ended, yeah.
Twitter voting, but you can still go to the NHL website and go vote if you haven't done so yet.
I'm not 100% sure about that.
Oh man, I wish we had an NHL executive who could tell us this information. But yeah, no, we got 2 weeks of madness and then you hit the brakes for 10 days minus the All-Stars, which I mean, you can really argue for a lot of All-Stars.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then
it's almost too bad the way that the All-Star game works now. You're not going to have more than a player or two, maybe 3 if you're like Boston or you're the host team, like when St. Louis did it. But I think the way it used to be when it was just conference against conference, it was actually, you're getting the best like 25 guys from either side.
You know what? Sorry, I'm just looking ahead of the schedule for the next month until February 20th. And even then, it might not even be a top team, but the New York Rangers are the next challenging team for the Jets. I guess Seattle as well.
After Toronto,
but that's after the break. We got Chicago. After the break, it's Chicago, Seattle, Columbus.
Seattle's good, but other than that, like you gotta, and then
you got 2 tough teams in the next, what is that, 12 games? Like that's going to be an interesting run. Like if the Jets only go 500 through this, you might hit the panic button on them a little bit.
I don't think you're going to hit the panic button, but they do have, like, as you get a little deeper into that, like, yeah, they play Chicago, Seattle, Columbus, but then you have New Jersey and then the Rangers back-to-back nights.
Yeah, so what is that, 30-minute drive? And
yeah, they're right beside each other, but that's 2 good hockey teams. Like, that's going to be a test. I don't think the Rangers are quite as good as everyone was expecting. But I mean, both of those teams are 2-3 in their division.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not used to seeing New Jersey at the top of the standing, so just my brain mentally just went, "No, they're a bad team." It's just like against Buffalo, I was like, "Oh yeah, this should have been in
New
Walker
Jersey's
Park."
third in the NHL.
Yeah, I forgot that they're so good. Oh, pay attention to the Atlantic, everyone. It's surprising. All right. Well, that's pretty much everything I've got. So, Ray, where can we find you on the internet if you want to be found on the internet? If you want to be left alone, we understand.
Yeah, I have an account that is normally in your chat by Brad Lambert is him. So if anyone wants to follow me on there and talk some Jets, I'm always open to that. And I'll
Right
also
on.
be in
Oh,
the
before we go, what do you think of Brad Lambert's first couple games in Seattle?
I haven't actually got the chance to look at them, but I'm hoping that they went well. And
So his first game he had a goal. I watched some of the highlights. I thought he looked not great. He made a couple bad turnovers in the highlights, but he scored. And then last night, I can't remember if the game was over when I checked, but he had an assist. But they lost to Saskatoon, which is shocking.
yeah, I think with Brad Lambert is, I think he just needs to get his confidence back and kind of like go through and kind of like almost dominate in a way where he can have a lot of success and not really have to worry about like kind of the opponents he's going up against. Because I feel like he just kind of with the Moose even and in being in the Liga where he just kind of felt that pressure on him where he had to succeed. So, and I feel like right now he's on a team where they're one of the top teams in the CHL where he can find success and the team is willing to kind of go with him and kind of get that adjustment to help him succeed. So I'm really happy with where he is right now.
Good to hear it. Hopefully he does get that confidence and a little bit of that swagger back because I think he's going to be a hell of a player, but hasn't been spectacular this
Yeah,
year.
definitely.
So hopefully playing with guys his own age, he'll do well.
Yeah, definitely.
Sam Brownell, where can we find you on the internet and the AM airwaves?
Yeah, S Brownell 12 on Twitter, Sam Brownell Radio on Instagram, and then 730ckdm.com. You can listen to me there every Monday to Friday. Every day at noon. If you like agriculture, tune into my ag show at like 12:10 every day.
Hey man, that the Old Farmer's Almanac, I love it. Go tune
It's
in for the
great.
Old Farmer's Almanac.
It's
Love it.
not for me.
No,
Dick.
well, I mean, Sam's cool too, but like the Old Farmer's Almanac, that's where your real bread and butter of the noon hour is. So
There you go.
yeah, but also Sam has cool interviews from time to time. I tune in for those every now and
Yeah,
then.
it can be interesting. Heading down to Ag Days on Thursday, so that
Oh,
should
you're
be
gonna be in
some
Brandon?
good stuff. Yeah, heading down to Brandon just for the day on Thursday.
All right. Well, I mean, you're a member of the media, so go say hi to Sam. I'm just forcing you to do it. If you're in Brandon at Egg Days, for myself, you can follow Jets Nation Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. Make sure you check out jetsnation.ca. I try to post there every now and then. And you can follow me, Angus Hout, on Instagram, Facebook, and not Facebook. Please don't follow me on Facebook. I've told you guys this
It'd be
before.
so weird.
It's so weird. We don't do Facebook anymore. If I started a MySpace, you could follow me there. But Twitter and Instagram, Angus Hope. You can follow me there very comfortably. I know folks have stalked me from this podcast on Facebook, so please don't. It's embarrassing. All right, boys. Ray,
I'm now encouraging everyone to go look at Angus's Facebook.
Oh,
Everyone go bully Angus.
Oh man. Dang it. I hope that they can't find my old Facebook. That'd be very embarrassing.
You shouldn't have just said that you had one.
Well, it's been kind of locked by Mark Zuckerberg, so I can't get into it unless I have it doesn't explain it well. So it's like, yeah, if you find it, please tell me because that means I can still access it. And you get to see me with pink hair. That's the bonus of finding my old Facebook.
Oh God.
Yeah, I was in grade 12. It was a time.
That's too old.
I was doing it for breast cancer awareness month.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not
now
like
I'm the asshole.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, you are, dickweed. Yeah. And I had a mullet and a skull at one point. So, you get to find some cool hairstyles from me. That's what you get from my old Facebook if you find it. So Mark Zuckerberg, please open up my old Facebook. I just want to see the old photos and the crazy statuses. All right, boys. Ray, thank you so much for jumping in. You are fantastic. You're welcome here anytime. You'll probably be here next week if I ask
definitely.
nicely. Okay, sweet. Well, you enjoy your week there, sir. Sam, enjoy yours, and everyone else. Peace and grace. We'll talk to you again soon.